I'm Alan.
Alan, yeah, Alan Sidaway.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Jim Ross. Yeah,
Hello, Jim,
pleased to see you.
Yes,
Yeah, great.
yes.
You have a good journey over the hills
It
there.
was a bit hard the first mile, you know,
Yeah,
uphill and very dense and humid in the forest. But
Yeah,
once you got out of
yeah.
there, it wasn't so bad.
At least there's a bit of a breeze. There'll be no
Yes,
midges today.
yes,
yeah,
yes,
good, good.
yeah.
I expect you'll be wanting to camp now. You'll be feeling pretty
Yes,
tired. Yeah.
yes.
There's good places to camp over at in this flat bit over here. You can see
Yes.
the tents over there.
Yeah.
And there's also other parts around about here, anywhere you like really.
Mm.
You'll see over there's a bridge. Do you see the little
Oh yes, yes.
little bit of wood sticking out? That's a
Yeah.
bridge over the burn there.
Yeah.
And if you follow that round, you'll see further over there's a little hut with a blue flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a toilet block.
Right.
So if that's the way these things. There's a path through the bracken there. You'll find it.
Yeah.
If you look lower, you'll see another path down there. That leads into the area where you take water. You see the burn over there?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. So that's where you get water for drinking.
Yes.
In there. You need to watch if you want to wash or have a bath or something, not to wash above that. Go below down to near
Right,
the sea.
yes.
Yeah.
Is the water drinkable, is it, or does it have to be boiled?
No, it's fine, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
good,
As far
yes.
as we know.
Yes.
Haven't had
And what's
any
this
problems.
building here with the blue?
That's the kitchen area.
Right, yes.
Yeah. If Margaret's still in there, you might be able to get a cup of tea.
Oh, that'd be
You go
good,
and
yes. I'm
beg
ready,
and say
ready
you're-
for a cup of tea.
Yeah, say you're desperately
Yeah.
thirsty, she'll give you a cup
Yeah.
of tea.
Right, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other good camping places at this side over here, where you see some of the tents.
Yeah.
But anywhere's good enough. I would stay in the wind.
Yes.
Because it has been a bit midgy now and then.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Right.
If you want to go and do that, get camped and come back and see me outside the site here, and we'll have a talk about the site.
Right,
Okay.
right.
See you later.
I'll go and find somewhere. Thank you.
Hi, while our volunteer goes off to camp, let me explain to you what's happening here. It's not a new series of Castaway or a Survivor programme, it's something much more interesting and indeed much more challenging. It's an MBA work party. We're here at Peanmenanach, Bothy, where amongst other things we're replacing roof sheets, laying a new floor, building a new staircase, plus all the other bits of painting and pointing that are standard in an MBA work party. So why are we making this video? Well, health and safety is pretty high on the agenda in MBA at the present time, and we thought it would be useful to make a video that would show you some of the ways to make a work party safe. We've tried commercially made health and safety videos, but when we've shown them at meetings, annual general meetings and so on, people have said, it's not like that at an MBA work party. Well, Bob the Builder putting up ladders in a yard somewhere in Surrey doesn't quite square with what happens in the MBA at a work party. So we decided to try a little bit of do-it-yourself video making. We've got a pretty professional camera crew here and a cast of genuine MBA volunteers. We're going to have a look at things like working at heights, dealing with hazardous substances, and one or two aspects of site safety management. So here's our volunteer coming back now. I hope he has a very enjoyable work party, but most of all, I hope he goes home safe and sound.
You get pitched all right, yeah?
Yes, it's down there, the blue one.
All right, right.
It's nice and windy.
Yeah, it will be. Come on, then we'll meet you signing
Yeah.
the paper.
Right.
Right, Alan, this is Margaret. Margaret, this is Alan.
Hello, Margaret.
This is our cook. Okay.
I've heard
Have
good
a-
reports of you.
Have a seat. A few papers you need to sign here.
What is this paper?
This is the volunteer register. It's just
oh,
so
I've
we
read
know.
this in the handbook about this, yes.
Yeah, that's right. You've read the handbook, have
Yes,
you?
yes,
that's
that's good, yes.
Excellent, yeah. It's just so we know who was on the work party, just in case there's a claim against us in the
Yes.
future, and we know who you are and where you live and so on.
Have you got a pen, please?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I take it you've got old clothing with you, have you?
Yes,
Aye.
yes, I bought old clothes.
You don't mind it getting mucky or anything. What about your footwear?
Yeah, I wore my toe protectors.
Oh, you've
over.
got toe protectors. That's
yes.
excellent. That's very
I
good.
wore them over.
Yeah, great.
Not so good as my walking boots, but
Yeah, not so waterproof.
no, I'll
Very
probably get blisters
uncomfortable.
as well.
Yeah. There's a few other things here that we have. This is the health and safety plan. You can look at this if you want. It's really for our benefit, just to show that we've done everything we should do to make sure that it's a safe project.
I can look at that later, perhaps.
You can have a look at that if you want, yeah. But we also have this accident report, which you may have to fill in if you have an accident, but it very seldom happens, in fact. We also have the first aid kit in here. We always like to keep it in a specific place, and this is where we're keeping it. And Margaret will patch you up if you have a minor accident. In here we also keep the casualty evacuation form.
Yes.
What this does is it tells people where the nearest phone is, how to get in or out of the Bothy by the easiest and quickest route. Gives you grid references for where the Bothy is, and if there's an accident, what you do is fill this bit in here which tells you about the nature of the injuries of the casualty, how many folk are here to help with getting the person out, and you fill that in and take this with you.
So there's spare ones for if you know had more than one.
No.
No.
We haven't got a spare one.
Oh dear.
There's only going to be one accident.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you can obviously make up other ones.
Yes, of course you can. Yes.
You take this out with you so that when you go to the helicopter or whatever, you can give them the information, because you may not think of doing that before you leave.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got any disabilities or anything? You're no problem that way.
No.
Happy in heights.
Yes.
So on. That's fine. Yeah. Good. Right, well I think we're ready to go and start work.
Yes.
If you
perhaps you can introduce me to some of the people.
Yeah, we could go and meet some of the other folk that are going to help
I know
us.
it's a bit late, so they're probably most of them will be packing up by now.
Yeah, very likely. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's first aiders too. I'd like you to meet. We have people who've trained as first aiders.
Well, I am a first aider myself.
Oh, yeah, that's very good. Yeah, have you got a full first aid certificate?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
excellent.
It's a standard certificate.
Yeah. Oh well, I know what we're using you for then. Okay, Alan, shall we go and have a look around the site?
Right. Yes, be lovely. Yes.
Well, let's have a look at the site.
Yes.
This area along here with the tape is our hazard area, and we'd really like everybody in this area to be wearing helmets.
Yes, right.
You'll probably find now and again that there's folk not wearing helmets in here, which is not a good thing, but it's very hard to persuade some folk to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
But here's a helmet here you could try on for size. Do you want to have a look at that?
Go.
That's a bit loose. There's an adjustment in it.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, there you are. Look, see? Yeah. You pull this strap out here until it fits you.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine. Right, we can go into the hazard area now. Yeah. After you.
Well, thank you.
You can see what we're doing here. The old roof sheeting was deteriorating to a point where we really had to replace it. So what we've done is taken it all off and put on this new plastisol coating sheeting here. There's still little bits of work to do here, but it's mainly finished. There's no real hazards here now, it's quite safe. Okay, let's go round the building a bit. This is typical, you know, stuff left lying around. You've got to watch it, you know. There's always stuff lying about. You'll end up tripping over it if you're not careful.
Like this.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. This scaffolding here, we're using this to do the work from at this end at the moment, and you can see the replacement sheets on here.
Yeah.
I don't really like things left up on the roof like this at night, hanging on the roof, but it's probably safe enough because of the roof hooks, but I certainly wouldn't want to see a ladder like that normally.
No.
This ladder here is tied on, as you can see, and that's something you always look for, that if you're going up a ladder, a fixed ladder, it should be tied on like that. Yeah. So beware of these things. This kind of thing too is a bit of a hazard. When you're walking around, you can trip over them or bang your head on them. Another good reason for having a hat on.
Yes.
Have you done this kind of work before?
Yes, a little bit. Yes.
A little
yes.
bit. Yeah.
It's mainly as a DIY, you know.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Are you used to heights like this?
Yes.
Quite happy with the height,
Yes.
Right, Alan. Up here you can see this lump of rock that's hanging at the top of the gable here.
Yeah.
This is a particularly hazardous situation. Well, these caps have to come off so that we can extend the roof over the end there, rather than having the sheeting ending at a cap, which is not very easy to maintain.
No.
But obviously when this comes down, this is dangerous, you know, and we have to be careful. But when this happens, we'll have marshals here before we knock it off and make sure there's nothing in the way, such as this rather fragile tower here.
Because these hats wouldn't help with that.
No way. Yeah. This is the onduline sheeting I was telling you about. There's just a bit left there, and that's going to have to get taken off. You can see quite a lot of the screws are already out of it. Okay, any other questions about the
No,
site?
can't see anything. You're
No, you're
It's
happy?
just
Right,
a lot of it's
let's-
common sense, you know.
Yeah, the main
Yeah.
thing is watch the tripping hazard.
Yes.
Really, it's quite bad sometimes. You know.
Yes, yeah.
Right, shall we go into the Bothy and get some tools for the
Yeah.
bit of work I want you to do?
Right, lovely. Yes, thank you.
We're going to talk about working at heights. There are two main hazards working at heights. One is that you fall off the roof, and the other hazard is that something falls on you if you're underneath. The obvious solution to working at heights and getting access to heights is the use of ladders. But if you're working in a situation where there's a fall of more than 2 meters, say from the eaves of the roof, or you're going to be working for quite a long duration or with lots of tools or heavy materials, you need to use scaffolding. We'll talk about scaffolding shortly. Of course, it's often quite difficult and expensive to get scaffolding to many of our remote bothies. So if you've only got a small amount of work to do with a fall distance of more than 2 meters, then you can use a full body harness. But first of all, let's have a look at some ladders. This is an aluminium roof ladder to BSEN 131. It has integral wheels and hooks. Don't be tempted to use the detachable hooks. They're not particularly safe in themselves, and they can be positively dangerous if not properly fixed. Don't forget to check that the hooks are actually on the roof at the other side and not on the ridge. Never forget about the rungs that are overhanging the roof, and never ever stand on them unless they're supported by the roof. The ladder becomes very unstable. And be careful now too, because the weight of the roof ladder can tend to push you off a little bit. Nobody below. On low pitched roofs, there's a tendency for the hooks to slide up and can even come up over the ridge. This is even worse on a newly painted roof or on new material. The way we can get over this is to use a long rope right over the roof, down the other side, and tie it down to a very heavy weight.
Dave's using an access ladder and a roof ladder to get up to work on the ridge. He's careful not to stand on the unsupported end of the roof ladder. He's got both hands free because he's carrying the hammer in a holster. The helmet he's wearing wouldn't protect him if he fell, but he's inside the hazard area where other folk are working. Notice how Dave placed the old nails in a pouch. Waste should never be thrown down, however small. It could go in someone's eye.
The mainstay of the MBA work party, aluminium extending ladder to BSEN 131. The important thing about setting up a ladder is to make sure it's on firm level ground, not like this. We need to do some work here. Never be tempted to use wooden blocks, they are very unstable. To level the ladder, a little bit of spade work is usually all that's required. This is more than a little bit of spade work. Make sure both of the stiles are firmly on the ground. Make sure that the ladder is not resting on the bottom rung. It makes it very, very unstable. The angle of the ladder should be approximately 75 degrees. That's equivalent to 1 metre out from the wall for every 4 metres up the wall. Make sure that both the stiles are on a firm surface on the wall. Never ever try to balance the ladder on a flexible surface such as drone pipes, gutterings, anything like that. It's most unstable. Once the ladder's up, if you can tie it on at the top, do so. It makes it very secure. If you're still uncertain about the stability of the ladder, ask somebody to foot the ladder for you. Dave, would you foot this ladder until I get it tied on, please? Ladders are fine for short duration work, something that doesn't require you to carry a lot of tools, a lot of materials, and you can work using one hand. If you need a lot of tools, a lot of materials, you need to use both hands for the work, and it's going to be long duration work. You really have to think about using scaffolding. So let's go and have a look at some scaffolding. The advantages of scaffolding are safety, plenty of protection. Even if you're up on the roof, you've got protection. Should you slip and fall, you don't go to the ground. You've got plenty of room, freedom of movement, lots of space to store tools and materials. Ideally, if you've got good access to the bothy, you should use commercial scaffolding erected by competent people, people who are trained to put up scaffolding. In this case, because access is so difficult to the bothy, we've decided to produce a timber scaffold. This is all well and good, but it must be designed properly and by a competent person. Here's the plans. Also, timber scaffolds must be erected under the supervision of a competent person. The main points to watch out for are that it's on firm level ground and properly supported. There are cross braces which are going to give it some lateral strength and support, and also stays which will prevent the scaffolding coming out from the wall. We've got the ladder. The access ladder should be securely tied at the top. You must have a good handhold for access from the ladder onto the landing. If not, the ladder must be extended sufficiently to provide that handhold. Up here, the important points are 2 guardrails to stop you falling off, and the toe boards. Of course, if you want to work further up the roof, you'll need a roof ladder, but at least you'll have the security of the scaffolding if you should have a slip from the ladder.
The general access scaffold is being used here by several workers to fix new sheeting on the roof. Sufficient folk are helping to lift the sheets, which can slip easily from your grasp and have sharp edges. You'll notice that gloves are worn for lifting. The folk on the scaffold have plenty of room to move around into the best positions for the work. The toe boards prevent them from kicking things down into the helpers below, and the guardrails give them real security against falling.
What are you going to be doing then, Dave?
I'm going to be putting up the scaffolding to take the ridge cap off.
Okay.
So,
Do you want a hand with the tower?
aye, sure.
It's easy with two people, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
I tell you what, do you want me to check everything over
Okay.
and you start leveling?
I'll level off the ground there. Aye.
You got the spade? Yes. You've got to watch these clips on the end here, they get damaged very easily,
Yep.
you know, don't they?
Aye. Need a spirit level for this ground here.
The spirit level, that's a
Make
bit...
sure it's absolutely flat. It really makes putting the scaffolding up so much easier if you actually get a flat base.
I seem to remember what it was like the last time.
Definitely, aye.
What do you reckon?
Level ground. It's got to be level, you save yourself the job later on.
Well, that's right,
However, for distance.
Hmm?
Distance on that, is that reasonable sort of. Not that sure, actually. Take it up a bit.
What do you want, which way do you want to go? This way or the other way?
The ground has a lot softer up here, but.
Take it up to about there then.
Aye.
Let's try it. That's why. Hold on for just a second. Oh dear. That's crossbows. It's okay, that away. And it's leaning into the wall.
Leaning into the wall, excellent.
Eh?
Excellent.
Need to be careful that it's not too close to the wall when you get to the top though.
Aye, that. The wall slopes out about 4 or 5 inches.
Is it? Is that going to do it then?
Aye, that
Right, well, we'll
should do it where it's standing.
we'll put the next bit up.
Okay.
But it's
We'll see what
I tell you what, do you want to just run the spade, or just take that bit off, and then you probably drop that leg in.
Aye.
Perfect. Except I think you'll find that that leg will need to drop down a touch now, won't it?
Aye, we'll see when we get there.
Hmm?
When we get the next level up and it squares the thing.
That's it dead level then. Dead vertical. But the other end's leaning in a touch.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do?
Well, we'll put the first level on and square it up, and then
Right, okay.
it's a good solid.
Yep. Okay. How's that? On that one, we need to, do you want to put the stays on, huh?
Aye, good idea.
Come on.
That's it.
It's getting better. Oh, you're bad luck. Ouchie.
Right, that holds the whole lot, really. Okay. To me.
We need to take one of these out though to get the...
Yes. Once the thing's up there, then we take one of these out and then pass it up.
Right. Quite a weight this thing, isn't it?
Roll it in.
How are you doing at your end?
Fine.
Nearly there.
Got to go up a level.
Oh, we got... I can't see. That's right. Well spotted. How's it feel? Okay?
Yep, probably want this one to come off as a safety rail at the top once the whole locks
I'll
up.
do that once.
Yep.
Once you get the other thing in at the top, it'll stiffen it up a bit more.
Okay.
Okay. Are you going right up, huh?
This should,
Oh,
this,
no,
this
you
should- Yep.
straight away.
Yep.
You won't fall down then.
Okay.
How's it feel? All right?
Yep, feels fine.
Right.
Thought there might be a little cap coming off here. That's it.
Right. Toe boards.
Yep. I have to take my gloves off for this.
You probably need all these up at once, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you do. Which I don't have up with me at the moment.
Well, when you finish that, you'll get a cup of tea.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. All right, tea time. Great stuff. Go. This is a typical lightweight aluminium scaffolding tower. It has a great benefit, excuse me, that it's very light to transport. So it's often quite easy to get this on site where a more robust scaffolding would be quite difficult. It's excellent for painting, pointing, lightweight work where there's no great forces involved. It's very important to know what the safe working load of the tower is. This particular one is 160 kilograms safe working load. It'll be marked on somewhere, it'll be in the manufacturer's instructions. Make absolutely sure that you know the safe working load. This tower is suitable for one person and a few tools and a few materials. It is not a two-person tower. The important things when you erect this tower, it must be on level ground, it must be vertical in two planes, the 4 feet must be on the ground on spreader boards, the braces must be in place and firmly on the ground and bracing the tower in 3 planes, not just 2. Okay, there are clips which must be inspected for damage before you start work, before you start assembling, and make sure all the time that these clips are firmly in place. Okay, always climb the tower from the inside. Door at the top. Once you're up here, close the trapdoor straight away, save any unfortunate accidents. The main features up here are toe boards, absolutely essential to avoid tools or bits of material or whatever being accidentally kicked off. This particular tower came without toe boards, and these were made up specially for it. Must have toe boards. Guardrails, obviously, to stop you falling off. The only other thing up here really is if you get the opportunity to tie off the top of the tower to the building, then it just gives it that little bit of extra security.
Never try to carry tools while climbing a scaffold or ladder. Get them passed up or use a bucket. Dave's going to be using a cold chisel and a club hammer to break concrete, so he needs to wear goggles for eye protection. A quick glance down to check no one's below. Gripper gloves are being used here, so there's less danger of the tools being dropped on anyone below. They also give some protection to the hands. Notice that the scaffold platform provides a safe place to put tools down onto. It's always tempting just to throw waste down, but it's safer to put it in a bucket for lowering. You can see how much safer a scaffold is than a ladder when you need to use both hands and apply quite a lot of force. At the end of the job, both waste and tools are safely lowered to the ground. There's nothing like sitting down to a ready-made lunch after a hard morning's work. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Just look at this hungry mob coming. Communal breaks at work parties for lunch and for morning and afternoon tea breaks are a great idea. Even better if you can get the services of a cordon bleu camp cook like Margaret here. It means that everyone stops work at the same time, everyone gets a meal and a rest. And it saves time too, because folk are not going off in all directions to brew up and find something to eat. Mind you, on a bad day we sometimes have to drag folk out by the scruff of the neck to get them back to work. It is also a social event. New arrivals can meet the new volunteers, old hands can bait one another about the quality of their work, and all can share the crack about other work parties and Bothy trips. They're all a bit quieter than usual today, but that's just because the camera's rolling. For the project organiser, it's a good opportunity to bring everyone up to date on the progress and to tell them what's happening next, and also to raise any particular health and safety issues while everyone is together. MBA rules provide for up to £1.50 per volunteer per day for communal provisions at work parties. What actually lands on the table depends on the size of the work party and the availability of a volunteer to manage the catering. So don't expect to get a spread like we have enjoyed today at every work party. You may just get the makings for sandwiches and tea, coffee and biscuits. Still, that's better than rummaging around in the bottom of your tent for last night's leftovers. Well, better get this lot back to work. Thanks, Margaret, for another good one.
Hi there. I was checking through these tools and have a look at what I found here.
That's a real beauty, isn't it? No proper wedges. The head's all chipped, so that could splinter. Bit of metal in somebody's eye. The shaft's been overstruck, so it's weakened. And I suspect there might be cracks somewhere behind this bandage.
Yeah.
Can you find a better one?
Yeah, there's a reasonable one here.
That's better. 2 wedges properly placed. No chips on the head. Fine sound shaft. Great. Well, that's okay.
There's a bad example of a chisel here as well.
Oh gosh, yeah. These burrs really should be stripped off before it comes to a work party. And if it does get damaged during work, which often they do, a wee file just keeps them right.
Yeah.
But in that state, chips of metal into somebody's eye, no good.
Yeah, this one's been kept in good condition.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the way it should be. Nice and smooth around the top, no burrs.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got something in the bucket. Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Otherwise, sure as hell, someone will use them.
Certainly will. Anyway, you've got something for your job anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
See what?
COSH, the control of substances hazardous to health. It's a fairly complex piece of legislation that requires us to know what harm substances can do to us and what precautions we must take to minimise such harm. We all know the harm we can do to ourselves through the use of things like tobacco, alcohol and other recreational substances, but it's not always obvious the harm that can come from using quite basic and straightforward building and decorating materials. Substances can harm us through skin contamination, through inhalation, through ingestion and through the eyes. Once in the system, the substances can affect vital bodily organs, including the brain. So what's the answer? Simple. Read the label. The label and the manufacturer's instructions that go with the product should tell you how the product should be used, what precautions should be taken, the personal protective equipment to be used, and what to do in the case of accidental contamination.
Hi, Roger.
Hi, Alan. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for the Croupenol because
Right. You've come to the right place.
Right, yes.
What are you going to do?
I've got some timbers to preserve at the end of the building.
Right.
Quite high up. That's
Okay.
why.
Have you read the label?
Yes,
Yep.
yes, and that's why I've got the goggles and the gloves
Right.
and the hard hat because I'm climbing.
Very good. Very good. What are you going to do with the brush?
Well, I'm going
afterwards?
to put it in a polythene bag so that it's ready for use next time,
Okie dokie.
and then we get rid of the brush at the end of the work party.
Fine. Great. Okay.
So see you later then.
Okay.
Right.
Cheers.
Yep.
Paints and preservatives give off potentially harmful vapours, so never use them in confined spaces. Always use them with good ventilation. Water-based products give off fewer vapours than solvent-based formulations, so always go for the water-based product wherever possible. Applying with a paintbrush also produces less vapour than spraying, so always use a paintbrush if that is an option. There's another group of substances which in actual fact we use by the bucket load at MBA work parties, and that's cement. So let's go and have a look at somebody learning how to mix cement properly.
I'll show you how we could mix some mortar. I don't know if you've used mortar before, but mortar's the kind of thing we would use for in the joints in a wall, joining the stones together. It's just a mixture of sand and cement, the stuff in here. You can add a bit of lime, this is lime in here. If you want to mix what we call concrete, that's where you put a little bit of crushed stone in it as well, quite a lot of crushed stone. And you would use that for it, like in a floor, a thick layer of it in the floor, okay? But we'll just make up some mortar for the moment. This is sand off the beach. This cement, fortunately nowadays, comes in these small bags. It's rather nasty stuff, it's grey stuff. You don't want to breathe this up or get it on your skin. And when it's wet, you really don't want to get it on your clothing because it will soak in and make your skin, if you get dermatitis, it will really be bad for your skin. Your hands, you want to have something like PVC gloves, not the kind you've got.
Right.
Yeah, so you'll need to get a pair of PVC gloves to do this.
Yeah.
This is to prevent the stuff soaking in. Footwear too, I find that if you're wearing things like trainers which are absorbent, the cement will get into there and give you bad trouble with your feet, you know. So you should have sort of non-absorbent footwear.
Yeah.
Okay. The lime's pretty nasty too. You don't want to breathe that in or get it in your eyes. It's particularly bad in your eyes. I think we'd better give you a proper pair of gloves, Mathilda, if you want to change these.
Yeah.
Now, the other problems we have are the dust getting blown about. It's a bit windy today, and we need to watch we don't breathe in the dust or even get it in our eyes is worse. This mask here is a typical dust mask. It's not good for fumes or anything, but it'll do for dust like cement or lime. It has a replaceable filter in here, and you just wear it like this. Usually you put them on upside down the first time, and then you get it right. You know, it fits on something like that. Really uncomfortable, you know, and bad if you're trying to speak to other people. I don't think it's that windy. We really need to use this today. The goggles, again, if it's pretty windy and the dust flying about, you need to wear the goggles. That is important. It's also important if you're trying to do work with cement high up and the cement's liable to fall down. You really do need to wear these then.
Right.
You get it in your eyes and it really will cause trouble in your eyes. Would you know what to do if you got cement in your eyes?
No.
You need to wash it out real quick. Okay? With water, clean water.
With
Clean water,
clean
yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Right.
We actually, in the first aid kit, we also have saline solution, which is better, you know, it's cleaner, it won't damage your eyes so much. Yeah. I don't really want this, the materials here, they're not close enough to the board, so I think we'll move them. And the best way to move them is to lift them carefully. If you don't lift things, these are 25 kilograms, it's pretty heavy. If you don't lift them carefully, you'll hurt your back. So what you want to do is get in close to it, put one foot forward in the direction you're going. We're going this way, so like this. Bend your legs, don't bend down like this. Bend your legs, get a hold of it, lift it up, and as you come up, straighten your neck. You straighten your neck, it stops your spine bending, it gets you straight.
Right.
And then you're ready to walk in the direction you're going, okay? Put it down. Okay, you want to try lifting one?
What, the heavier one?
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
Right, so,
you're younger than me.
right, so, then, like that, yeah?
Yeah, you don't need to worry about getting yourself dirty. Straighten up, you just straighten your neck.
I tried to.
Yeah, like, watch the ground. It's quite important to keep the ground clear of, you know, things like stones and stuff. Typically you're carrying something, you trip and that's how you hurt yourself. You know?
Right.
So watch for things like that. When you're lifting sand, the same sort of rules apply about washing your back. You don't hurt your back. So 1 foot forward, take a shovelful, and don't turn round when you're actually lifting. That's when you hurt yourself. Lift it first and then turn round. Okay, so lift it up. Keep your hand well forward like this, because there you get tremendous leverage. You try and do that. Keep your hand well down like that, and then lift it up. Straighten up, same way as before, and then carry it over. Okay, you want to have a bash at that?
Yeah. Right.
1 foot forward, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
And
That's it,
stand
and then-
up.
That's it, that's good. And then turn round, yeah, that's fine. Another shovelful of that, that's fine.
Nope.
That's it, grand, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Ta. Now we want to add the cement and the lime. Fortunately it's not too windy, so I'm not going to bother putting on goggles and mask and so on, but you would if it was really windy, okay?
Right.
So, the cement first. Now we want a mixture of about 3 to 1, alright, so that's our 3 shovelfuls of sand. So we want to have the same amount of a mixture of cement and lime, okay? So I'm going to take not quite a shovelful of cement, because I want more cement than lime,
Right.
okay? Try not to throw it about, put it down gently,
Yes.
right? And the same with the lime. Okay, the lime's very light and it's much more likely to fly about. I like to get the powder covered as quick as possible in case a gust of wind comes and pounces on it and flies everywhere, you know. So cover it over a bit first. And then you want to start mixing it. And what you're trying to do is get a completely even mix of the materials. Dry, you don't put any water in it. Okay?
Right.
So that's what you're trying to do by turning it over. The same rules apply about lifting. You've got to watch it and you're not hurting yourself. So you're turning it over, trying to get an even mix. I prefer to walk round the work when I'm doing it, walking around like this. Alright, but each time you do that, you should be getting into a good position to do the lift.
Right.
Okay, to keep turning it over like that. Sometimes it helps to sort of move the stuff about with the shovel like this, to break up pieces. You sometimes get lumps like this as well, which is it's worthwhile flattening them out, especially if it's the lime or the cement. Okay, so that's what you do until you get a smooth mix. Okay, you want a bash?
So, right, so again.
You really have to watch for things like this projection here, you know, and you could hurt yourself falling over there.
Right. So just mix it until it's all the same colour then?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good enough, that's fine, right. What we want to do now is to add some water. And what you have to do is make a hole in here that the water will go into, but not get out of.
Right.
So you just use the spade to make a kind of a hole in there. Right. And don't go right down on the board. If you go right to the board, it'll all flow out.
Right.
All right. Try and keep some in the middle. And watch you don't leave a bit, it could flow over.
Right.
All right. And then if you'd like to get the water. Probably better using the handle. Put it down now. And use it like this, look.
Yeah.
Get it like this, you know, and hold onto it like that, see? And then pour it in like this. You get more control like that, yeah?
Yeah.
And take this well out of the way. Typically you'll leave it sitting here and then fall over it, yeah?
Yeah.
Or into it, yeah? Okay, you want to try mixing that? And just the same technique, just kind of work your way around it without tripping over the board. That's pretty good, that's fine. You can see it's still far too dry. This is the stage where you could test it by taking a bit and squeezing it together, and it should form an adhesive lump, right? That's when the cement's really unpleasant. If you get it wet like that on your hands, it's really bad. And typically these gloves wear holes in them eventually, and people keep on using them, and you get it through the holes in your hands, and it can make a really nasty scar, you know. So watch if you're doing that. The gloves are in good condition. Yeah. Don't get it onto this bit. You know, it gets into this bit, and it will wear your wrist. It really can be quite nasty. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we just need a bit more water. You want to make a hole in it, and I'll throw some water in.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where it gets harder because it can't absorb so much water.
I'm glad you said that.
There you are, look, you've got an escape. Try using the point of the cutting with the end of the shovel. Yeah,
Like
that's
that?
it. Yeah, just cut it down, that's it. Yeah. What you're doing is trying to spread it out a bit. That's it. And then mix it. That's pretty good, Matilda. That's fine, yeah. What we want to do now is we want to get this cement to where we're going to work. We're going to do a bit of pointing on a wall. So the best thing is just to put it in buckets, okay? Here's a bucket. You can put half of that, about half of that in here, alright? The reason I want half of it is because lifting one bucket's not good for you. It's better if you can have two equal buckets, alright? It's safer. So you put half of that in there.
Yeah. And then the other half in
Yeah, that's it, aye. As often as not, you'll not have 2 buckets, and if you don't have 2 buckets, then you would just not carry too much. You know, don't overdo the load. That's pretty good. Right, that's us ready now to go to the wall and start pointing. You maybe better get your hat now. We're going inside the hazard tape. Okay?
Yep.
Wait a minute, hold it. You shouldn't actually carry these underneath there. You're better to actually put them down and then go under and lift them again.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, on you go. Watch your back here for the ball.
Yeah.
Here we are ready to do a little bit of pointing in here. This pointing is to stop, there's holes in the wall, and what you're trying to do is stop water going in there and damaging the mortar work and the stonework of the building. Before you can actually put any mortar in here, you have to wet this down because the dust in there prevents it sticking properly. The new mortar, it just falls out. Here's the water here with a brush, and I'm going to throw that on here, and the first thing that will happen is grit and stuff will come flying out and go in your eyes. So at this stage you really need to wear a pair of goggles, okay? Another point, by the way, is we're close into this building, and if somebody was working up there, stuff could fall on you. Fair enough, you got a helmet, but it could be large stuff, you know, and you don't want that. So your organiser would have told you about that problem. But it's always an idea just to have a look, make sure there's nobody up there, you know, before you start working. Take the water and just slosh it in there. You can be quite brisk with it. Throw it into the joints. It's not worth doing too much because it dries out quite quickly. It soaks into the wall. Okay. I think we better move these buckets, Mathilda. We'll trip over them with have them that close. Let's move them out of the way a bit so we're not liable to fall over. You know what it is when you're working in here, you step back and you're over them, you know. Or you might put your foot in it, for all you know. What we need to do now is get a board. We need to have the mortar close to where we're working, so we need to have some mortar on a board. We just use lumps of material like this. Put some mortar onto the board, not too much. Okay. Close into where you're working, and put a bit on your trowel and start troweling it into the holes, okay, like that. Alright. Some people find using the trowel quite difficult. It's quite difficult to use. You can actually do it by just taking mortar in your hand and just pushing it into the holes like that, yeah. But if you're going to do that, make sure that the gloves are in good condition. And the other thing to watch for is that you don't get it all over the cuff here, because it really will go for your wrist if you do that. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to have a bash at that?
Yeah. Right, so up here.
Yeah. Try that. Aye, okay, try the high one, on you go. That's it. Press it in fairly hard. Don't worry about losing it, but if you keep the board against the wall, it'll save most of it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Right, you happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, I'll leave you to it then.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Before we finish with hazardous substances, it's worth a word about training. What we saw there was a very useful piece of direct formal training. But we can train people in other ways too, whether it's an inexperienced work party member working alongside an experienced one, or a proper training event. So if you're asked to do a task at a work party and you're not sure what to do, ask. And for experienced work party members, do take time to help those that can benefit from your experience. To close on hazardous substances, there are three main points that I want to emphasise. One is to select the least harmful substance available that can do the job. Secondly, read the label. And thirdly, wear the correct personal protective equipment.
Well, that's it for the day, I think, Roger. But I think we'd better have a look around the site before we.
Okay.
I think we better sort that before the end of the day, eh? Before
We'll
we
come
start
back and get the tape.
Aye.
We'll go round first.
Aye,
eh?
okay. Aye, some tools left here.
Just the usual.
Aye, do you want to pick them up?
Oh, here we go again. More nails.
Oh, that looks nasty, right enough.
certainly
Aye,
does.
put them in at the side there, just for the minute.
Right.
Stuff up here as well, Roger. Look, the ladder
Oh,
there.
the
That
ladder.
might come off in the gale
Oh,
we're going to get
let's
tonight.
take it down.
Aye, be an idea.
You got it?
Yep, yeah, I've got it.
Do you know what I've just seen?
Yeah. Might have known.
Wonder why that was on the tide then.
Except they were using it for something else.
Aye.
You know, they'd be taking it away and doing something else with it.
While you're up there.
Yep. What? Ah, yeah.
Whoops.
Shall I throw them at you?
Aye, you can do. Are they finished with these stones up here now?
I think they have actually,
Right,
because
just-
they're finished with the infill, yeah.
Just put them down there.
pass them down to them.
Okay.
These sheets could perhaps get weighted down a bit, Roger. They're
Yeah.
putting a bit iffy,
I'll-
yeah.
I'll put them together and
Aye, right, okay.
okay.
Stick that in the eye. That's a bit better. These ladders look a bit unsafe here, Roger. I think they might fall over in a strong wind. I think you better put them down.
Somebody will bump into them in the night.
Aye. That's a bit better, aye.
Yeah. I'll put that spade in as well when we go through.
Aye. This looks tidy for once.
Wow! Yeah, very good. The
Nice
number
and
of
clean.
times that folk leave cement there, dirty spades, dirty buckets. Brilliant.
Aye.
Yeah,
All cleaned off too.
yeah. Aye.
Tremendous.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. Good. Is that about it?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's about it. Yeah.
So what's the plan for tomorrow?
Well, I thought we'd get another bit of ridging on,
Right.
and perhaps start the staircase inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, that's getting on well.
Aye.
Yeah,
aye.
really well.
We've not had any accidents so far.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the main
Get
thing.
everybody home safe and sound. That's
Aye,
what health and safety is
indeed.
all about.
Let's go and have dinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
About time too. Contamination through inhalation, through ingestion, and I can't remember what the other one is. Shit. And what to do in the case of accidental contamination. Here comes Alan. Sorry about that.